Hello, my name is Severin Garrett, and my husband and I live in North Carolina. We have a Tower Garden farm with 100 towers in it. So today, for our focus, we are focused on educators, homeschool moms, and people who want to teach children about growing food. So I thought it would be really fun if I could interview a local teacher that I've been working with for, gosh, seems like about 8 months, maybe a little bit more, because he's just had a recent experience with adding 2 towers to 2 different schools. So let's get started by me introducing Sam McClure. Sam is with the Allegheny County School System, which is up here in North Carolina. And Sam, get us started by telling us a little bit about your role with the school system.
So I teach CTE, it's Careers and Technology, at 2 different schools. It's Piney Creek School and Lake Creek School, if you ever get up here. At the middle school level, the CTE class for Careers and Technology, really we focus on trying to get the kids a little bit of everything. So we try to get them to see all kinds of different careers, possible jobs for the future, that kind of thing. And we also try to throw in some of the cutting edge technology. That's where stuff like our tower gardens come in, and we get to do some 3D printing and drones, robotics, like everything we can find that will really get the kids excited about something they can do in the future.
Excellent, excellent. So what I think I'm hearing you say is that you're trying to get the middle school students excited about technology that they
Yes.
can possibly go into in the future. Are you encouraging them to go to a technical school or after high school, or just go straight from high school into a technical career? Is there one or the other?
It depends on what kind of job they're interested in. So like if they want to be a doctor or something, of course, they need the 8 years, they need everything. If their real goal is to like go and be a farmer, then there's not a whole lot of schooling they need for that. So we encourage them to go through at the high school. They can get some certificates and stuff and then go right into the workforce. Really, we try to help them, what is your goal? And then here's the college you need for that. So we don't try to push them too hard for anything if it doesn't seem to fit their job that they want.
Love it. So you're really listening to them and trying
Yes.
to cater their further education to whatever their goals are in terms of the job market.
Yes.
Okay, great. Well, I thought it would be fun to show you guys a photo of Sam with his students. I got to present to his students before the school year ended in the spring. So this is a fun photo that I'm just going to pop up. And Sam, why don't you tell us a little bit about these students, that kind of the age range, and obviously we've got them holding some lettuce, and that's your tower garden. But are these 7th and 8th graders?
These are all 8th graders here.
Okay. Okay.
So that'd be 12 to 14.
Okay.
Later year, probably 13 or 14 there.
All right. Well, they were a fun group, and obviously they're a creative group. I love the hairstyles.
Yeah, we had some good personalities in there.
Yeah, good personalities. Perfect. Okay, I'm going to take that off so people can see you closer as we complete the interview.
Okay.
All right, let's look at the next question. How long have you had a tower garden in your school?
Well, it'd be about 8 months or so. We got it around the end of April.
Okay.
So that was when it really got in and we got stuff set up. So unfortunately for the kids, they only had like one real good cycle with the lettuce because we got it right at the end of the school year. But I've played with it a little bit more through the summer and got a better handle on what's going on. And I've got some seeds now started and ready for the school years the kids come in. And then I'll introduce them to starting seeds and stuff, and we'll go from there this year.
Excellent. I love it. And you have 2 tower gardens because you work at 2 schools, correct?
Yes.
And they're both indoor units with the LED lights.
Yep.
Okay, excellent. And I didn't add this to your questions, but it might be good for some of the educators to know, how did your school find funding for your tower gardens?
For our school, we got it through a Gear Up grant. So Gear Up is where I guess you'd say local college, it's a couple hours away, but one of our local bigger colleges, they give us funding to just expose kids to college stuff, to go college trips, any kind of funding, things like that. So we were able to get the tower gardens through that grant.
Okay, from a Gear Up grant. I remember
Yes.
that. Perfect. Thank you, Sam.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, tell us how this modern technology growing solution has been working in your classroom. How have you been using it creatively for the students?
So one of the biggest things is where we're a small county, we have a lot of agriculture in the county. So I've got a lot of kids who come in and say, hey, I want to be a farmer when I grow up. That's what my dad did, my grandpa, they want to run their family farms. This is a way to go through and show them and say, look, this is the future of farming. Or at least I believe that it is. I think we're going to go more hydroponics, aeroponics. As we get a bigger population, I think that's where we have to go. So I want the kids to be aware this is out there. You can either do this, or if you don't want to, this is what you're competing against. So they know that before they go into hopefully what their future is going to be. And another one of our good units is I love to talk about space travel, so the space stuff. And one day when we get to that, this is what we're going to need. We have to have a way to grow without, we can't just put a seed in the soil and let it go. So you would have to have this kind of a thing. So it's really exciting. They get to see that hands-on and use that type of technology.
I'm so glad you mentioned that, Sam. NASA has the Tower Gardens in their, a couple of their different locations across the country, but for sure in the Kennedy Space Center location around their cafeteria. So they're growing food for their employees and guests, and then they're researching how they can take this to Mars. So you are on track. It's going to be in space travel eventually. Totally.
Yep. And
okay.
One of our last ones, we talk about, I did a nutrition unit with them. And I was really excited at the end of the year after we'd done our nutrition unit. And the kids were kind of like, I don't like salad and that kind of stuff. But they were excited to get something off the Tower Garden that they had helped grow. And they really wanted to eat that, which they didn't want anything to do with salad when we started. So that was another big thing that it really helped there.
Oh my goodness. I'm so glad you said that. Yes. I have found that what the kids grow, they will eat. Mm-hmm. But they may have never eaten, arugula, for example, before, and they didn't think they liked it. But I'm so glad you noticed that. Now, did you send the produce home with the kiddos, or did you make something there at the school? With COVID, you probably had to be real careful.
We sent a little bit home with them. We picked a few leaves and they just ate them straight off. And
okay,
like I say, we had to be kind of careful with the COVID stuff, but we got to get some of it in their hands.
Yes, excellent. When things loosen up a bit and we feel more comfortable, I have definitely gone to several schools and created a salad bar. And so the lettuce is coming from the Tower Garden, obviously. And then we just add all the fixings and teach them the value of, freshly harvested greens. So I'll be happy to come help you with that when we feel like it's safe.
I'd love that. I think the kids would too.
Great. We'll do that. Okay, so let's talk about the primary benefit to you as an educator to have the classroom or to have the Tower Garden in the classroom.
One big benefit is for what I'm doing is just getting kids to buy in. Like I've got where my room is at Glade, the kids walk past my room to go to lunch, and I'll have kids that I don't teach poking my head in, looking at the Tower Garden and asking questions, and they're excited to get into my class now because they see something fun that we're doing. And at Piney Creek, when we did our EOG testing, because, any little noise, they get really uptight about that. So I moved the Tower Garden out, and the lady next door teaches pre-K. And so she said, yeah, here, put it in my room. And she's every day as the kids come in, they wanted to ask about it and look at it. And like it was a big focus of their room for the better part of a week. So they're really excited about getting into this program now because of that.
Wow. So I think what I'm hearing you say is that you're attracting more students to your program because you have this creative modern growing tool.
Yes.
Love it.
Yeah, they're excited to get their hands on it.
Yeah, and you said something that some of the teachers listening might not know. There is a sound that goes with the Tower Garden. So tell us a little bit about what's happening and what's creating that sound.
So what is it, like 45 minutes or so, the pump will kick on and it runs the water up to the top of the Tower Garden that cycles across the roots. So you've got that running water sound, which really it's not bad in a classroom or anything like that. But for the testing purposes, I was afraid if somebody said, hey, that distracts me, then we got to retest. And it just wasn't worth trying to fight that battle.
Sure. Yeah.
For and the room, I enjoy the sound myself when it kicks on, and the kids seem to. Nobody's
Yes,
complained yet.
yeah. We have some people that use it kind of like as a relaxation tool on their deck, and they go sit by it and relax because it sounds like a waterfall to some degree,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, it's
But I
like one of those little
understand.
fountains people run, something like that. So yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
it's enjoyable.
right. I understand with testing, it could be, distracting. So good for you for moving it out just to be safe, right?
Yeah, they get uptight sometimes about that stuff. So better
Yeah,
safe than sorry.
yeah. So what is the primary benefit of having a tower garden to your students?
Probably that one is the nutrition thing.
Okay,
Just getting them in, getting them excited about eating healthy stuff. That, and then like say the buy-in, here's something you can do in the future. Here's this piece of technology. So between the two of those, I think it's a huge benefit for the students because like I say, they're really excited about it and excited about eating healthy, which they definitely weren't before.
no, what,
I think that's good
middle
for them.
schooler is happy about eating healthy. Yeah. Well, you can have a major impact in these kids' lives, Sam, by just exposing them to this, and I love it. Tell me what you have had success growing. I know we got you some seedlings. You happen to be lucky in that you're, close enough that you are close enough to a seedling provider that you don't have to always start from seeds. But what was the item that you grew that was the most success?
I would probably say the lettuce, and simply because it grew the biggest and the fastest, and so the kids were able to get a hold of that, and they were excited watching it. The herbs that we got, they grew good, but they were a little bit slower, and so the kids weren't quite as excited about seeing those. But I think getting into this year where we have more time with it and we can mix the herbs in with the lettuces and you make that kind of stuff, I think they're going to see more benefit. But yeah, I think lettuce was the big hit so far.
Well, I'm so glad. We try to teach new teachers or educators to start with lettuce because it's the quickest bang for your buck. And you want the kids to see success very quickly. They're not going to be as patient to wait on the herbs. So I'm so glad that you noticed that and that you shared that, because it is best for an educator when they first get a tower garden to just jump into leafy greens, any variety of leafy green you can get, and to get seedlings from the beginning, because with a seedling, they're harvested, they're ready to harvest within about 21 days. And if you start from seeds, you add an extra 2 weeks to that process, which to a kid, that seems like forever. But I'm so glad you've started some seeds already for the school year, and then they can do that with you as well. So thanks for those pointers. A lot of people wouldn't really understand that. Let's finish out with the last question. What advice do you have for other educators, homeschool moms who are getting started, just thinking about getting started with the tower garden?
One would be to make sure about your room, because make sure you got space for it, and you measure in there, because it doesn't take up a lot of space, especially for what you're getting, but it's a sizable piece of equipment. So make sure you've got room for that when you get in. Another thing that I don't think it was too hard to put together, but make sure you watch the videos on that and be sure that you can put that kind of thing together before getting it, because it'd be bad to get that big piece of equipment and not be able to use it.
Right. Yeah.
That's a big one, but overall it's been pretty simple to use. I've been very happy with it.
I'm so glad. It's been fun working with you, and what a great opportunity for us to get to know each other personally, because you got to have 2 different towers, 2 different schools. I think you mentioned earlier that your school system, your county school system, is considering another tower, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
We've got 3, well, they're K-8 schools, but we've got 3 of those in the system, and I'm at 2 of them. And now somebody at the third one's heard about the tower garden, and he teaches science, and he's decided he's excited. He does a lot of garden stuff, so he would like to give it a try. So hopefully we'll get that one set up before too long, and we'll have one at all the schools.
Perfect. I think that would be great. And I'd love to help you with it, obviously. The thing we'll close with is because Sam and his schools are so close to our farm, we've invited Sam and the kids down for a field trip in September. So we're really excited about that. That's not always going to be an option for other schools, but if you are somewhat close to a Tower Garden farm and you are a homeschool mom or a educator like Sam, look into maybe creating a field trip, because these kids are going to get to see 100 towers in a greenhouse growing food on a more commercial basis. So that gives them more understanding of what a career could look like in this industry. So we're excited about that, Sam. I can't wait to see you in a few months. But I just want to say thank you for taking the time for this interview. It really means a lot to me.
Thank you.